Welcome back to Houston Newsmakers with Congressman Al Green, who represents the 9th Congressional District. You make it a point to make a stake out moral high ground. That's what you do. I always kid you about the activist in you just won't go away.
Well, it's in my DNA. I have a history that I cannot ignore. I just celebrated my 25th birthday for the 3rd time. So I've lived a lot of things that other people are not aware of. I lived in a segregated society, and I never want to return to that.
Yeah, you and I both have done that. One of the things we talked about when you're talking moral high ground, you call it the conscience agenda.
Yes.
Talk specifically, how did this idea come about?
Well, it came about because within me and within most of us, there is something that says wrongs have to be put to rest. They have to be straightened. You have to right wrongs. And this is an effort to right some of the wrongs that are centuries old that we have not addressed, and they couldn't be addressed at the time they were actually ripe to be addressed because the people who were wrong didn't have any power. So now that we do, I happen to be elected to Congress, it's my duty, my responsibility, and obligation to do all that I can to right those wrongs.
So we're going to talk about some of those. One of them starts with what you call Slavery Remembrance Day, which calling for August 20th annually to be observed as a Slavery Remembrance Day. Why?
Yes, because on August 20th of 1619, the first 20 slaves were brought to Point Comfort near what we call Norfolk, Virginia. That is the genesis of slavery in this country by most standards. Now, there may be some who would differ. But since that time, we have not given those persons and the people that followed proper recognition for what they did for this country in building roads and bridges. What would the White House look like without the hands of slaves who have helped to erect it? What would the Capitol look like? Planted seeds. They were the foundational mothers and fathers of the country, and they deserve recognition. And
there are a lot who don't want that kind of history to be taught and talked about. One of the things you also talk about is a Congressional Gold Medal, and you say that this gold medal should be given to American enslaved. You say there's a precedent for what was done for Confederate soldiers.
Well, the Confederate soldiers were given a Congressional Gold Medal. This is the highest medal that Congress can award.
As a group?
As a group, Confederate soldiers. I think that we can do a similar thing for those persons who were enslaved, who are the foundational mothers and fathers, built the country. We all benefit from the persons who were enslaved. Let's give them the recognition that they've earned as well.
One of the things talks about removing the name of Richard Russell from the Russell Senate office building. Why is that significant?
Senator Richard Russell fought integration. He was a segregationist. He was a person who helped with the Southern Manifesto. He was a person who fought anti-lynching laws. It does the country a disservice to see his name on a building that represents the Senate of the United States of America. It is a shame. The building is a national shame. It's a symbol of shame for this country. His name ought to come off. And by the way, you don't have to come up with some name that people may not like. Let it revert to the name that it had before it had Richard Russell, which was the old Senate office building. And then select the name that you want. I'm not in the business of naming it. I just want to make sure that we don't have shame as the name.
So one of the things is also an Atonement Act, and that is enacting the Securities and Exchange Atonement Act. That's certain to rile up a crowd. I'm sure that's...
Well, it does, but here's the situation. Banks, through their predecessor institutions, engaged in slavery. They would lend money for persons to buy slaves. They repossessed persons who were called slaves. And this kind of thing has to show us that it was wrong, but also that there should be some atonement. And we have had the big banks before us, and they've agreed that there should be atonement. The question is, what will that atonement be? So that's where we're working toward.
And so I understand. I remember when you brought this up about wanting to ask for a Department of Reconciliation, and that would be something that seems to be that may be the biggest reach of all.
Well, it is a big reach, but it's a necessary reach, and it's not beyond our reach. We have a Department of Labor. We have a Department of Commerce. We need a Department of Reconciliation with a Secretary of Reconciliation, undersecretaries, and it won't prevent any of the other things that we want to do to cure some of the ills that we've had in society for centuries. But what it will do is give us a systemic approach to dealing with these things. They're not going to go away overnight. The Trail of Tears, for example, what the persons from Asia did when they came and built the railroads. All of these things have to be recognized, and they have to be reconciled. And the Department of Reconciliation is a place for that to take place.
So this climate, is not really ripe for that sort of thing at this point, but you seem undaunted to do that.
Well, Many things take time. I have a time on my side, but I am the genesis. The revelations can come later. Everybody has to have a place where they start. This is our starting point, and I'm proud to be a part of the genesis of this.
Well, your constituents seem to agree with you. They sent you back to Congress. 76 to 23% was the vote at that point in time, so they obviously agree with you. I want to thank you for coming this morning and sharing your thoughts. Always good to see you. Look forward to a lunch or a dinner somewhere down the road.
Let's do it. My honor.
Good luck, and thank you for how you serve your constituents in the 9th Congressional District. Good to see you as always.
Always.
Sir.
Thank you.